Hey, it's Bill from Calderwood Percussion with another weekly shop update. First of all, so I've been working on this chime rack system. Like I said, it was something that the guy at Steve Weiss saw the larger chime racks we made and asked if we could do something that would be smaller, more modular, something that you could, tear down and put in a hardware case. So this is the first prototype. The part that the tubes mount to and the retainer are totally separate. They're on these Liberty One V clamps that Steve Weiss sells, and so this way, these two wooden pieces you can mount on a cymbal stand or a mic stand or whatever. It can be height adjustable. This is the tallest cymbal stand that I just have laying around the shop, but even so, if you needed a couple of chime notes while you were sitting in a drum set, this would be great. This will hold up to 5 chimes. I just have these two in it right now, but it's got 5 locations for chimes to go. So yeah, this is the first prototype. I'm gonna mess around with this for a little while and sort of see how it holds up, and I think that there's a little bit of refining that still needs to happen, but once we get it all figured out, we'll start putting these into production. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Like I said, it's very prototypey, but I think that there's a good idea here, so I'm excited to kind of refine this a little bit. The other thing I want to talk about is Piccolo snares. This just finished up. This is going to the NYU Day of Percussion. This again is going to be either a raffle thing or a door prize. I'm not really sure, but if you're going to NYU Day of Percussion, and you should, hope you win this drum. Also, these are a couple other Piccolo snares. These are not new. I made these in the mad rush to get things done leading up to PASIC. I made these 2 drums, 3 of these actually, but the third one sold while we were at PASIC. On the last day, a young woman came to the booth and she picked up this green drum to play. I don't know who she was, but if you're watching this, I want to say thank you, because you illustrated a problem with this drum that I hadn't realized, and I finally figured it out. So the strainer on these Piccolo snares, I've never run into this trouble before, but when this young woman was playing this drum, she played it, and it sounded good, and then she went to throw off the snares, and the snares didn't fully disengage. And she's like, oh, hey, what's up with that? Like, is that, like, what's going on there? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not really sure why that's happening. I never really had that problem with Piccolo snares before, and I looked at it, and it had a different strainer on at the time, and I looked at it, and I'm like, the travel on this throw-off is, like, really short, and maybe that's the issue. It's just not clearing. And so I switched out to a different strainer that I knew would work, and I was still having the same problem. I was like, well, maybe the snare beds are just a little bit too deep, because with Piccolos, a little bit goes a long way. And so I just kind of put it aside. I was like, I'll figure this out later. And then I made another one of these the other day, and I had the same problem. And I was like, okay, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? This has never happened with other Piccolo snares that I made. And I realized that on this drum initially, and on that other drum, I had set the strainer about 3/16 of an inch lower than I normally do. I don't really know why. I had just kind of lined it up that way. And judging by where it hit relative to the snare bed, it should have worked fine. So here's what I learned. Depending on the placement of the snare strainer relative to the bearing edge, it will change the break angle of the strap or the cords that are holding your snares, right? So depending on the severity of that break angle, that changes the amount of tension which is necessary to pull the snares up tight against the head. And what I found was the flatter that break angle is, the more tension was required. And so when I was throwing off the snares, it wasn't bringing the snares all the way off the bottom head. So, when you say that, it seems obvious, but I had run a problem before, and I didn't realize. And so this week I finally figured that out. When I made a second drum that had that problem again, and I was like, wow, that's what this problem is. And so anyway, if you were the young woman that played this drum at PASIC and found that when you turned the snares off, it didn't fully disengage them, thank you. I've now figured out what the problem is and have since fixed it, but I really appreciate that you illustrated that problem for me. So anyway, hey, learn something new every day, right? So anyway, if you're having a similar problem with one of your snare drums, and you're having a hard time getting the snare tension sorted out, you know, a lot of times the way the snare beds are cut is the issue, but this is another problem that I've just sort of discovered, that strainer placement. Even if it doesn't look too low, if the break angle of the strap is too flat, that might be what's giving you some trouble. So anyway, I thought that was something interesting to find out, and thanks again to that woman that played this green drum, whoever you are, and I'm back to work, but thanks, and I'll catch you next time.